Hello YouTube and welcome to the nation of free-to-play. I'm Mr. Mondstadt and today I have a special video for you as the last banners before the long-awaited release of Snezhnaya are live, and that means the perfect time to talk about the top 5 supports in Genshin Impact at the end of Nod-Krai. I already posted my top 5 DPS video a couple of weeks ago, but now with Columbina on banner, it is high time to follow up with a support version as well. First up, I need to quickly talk about my assumptions in making this ranking, and other than the DPS list, when it comes to supports, there are less things to be considered. Supports are meant to be universal, elevated team, should not be too restrictive, and ideally be F2P friendly. That means that all the 5 stars on the list are with C0 R0 in mind, and 4 stars should any be on the list are with C6 in mind, but I will get to that. On top of that, good supports are only as good as their best teams, so even if a unit is very strong in terms of their kit, it won't help if their best teams are not matter. One example is C6 Faruzan. She is one of the best 4 stars in game in terms of kit at C6, but the best teams struggle to clear endgame all the same, which is why the bigger picture matters so much. And lastly, I try to focus on supports, not necessarily sub-DPSs. It is of course not a hard distinction between the two, as modern supports often deal a lot of damage as well and vice versa, but I'm sure you'll understand what I mean once I get to the characters. So with these disclaimers out of the way, let's start with the 5th place, Bennett. Yes, the first unit on this list is a 4 star and one of the oldest ones as well. Bennett has carried so many F2P accounts since the launch of the game and still is one of the overall best characters to own. For this ranking I did assume his Constellation 6, but he is already broken from C1 onwards. His attack buff together with his healing secured him a meta spot in every region, and while he did get competition over the last years, he is still the strongest attack buffer to a single unit in Genshin. He's super easy to build with 4-piece Noblesse or Instructor, and as much energy recharge as you can get him. Main stats do not matter, he can be on a Pyro Goblet, HP, Dendro, Defense, whatever has the most amount of ER is his best in slot. The only things you have to do is give him a high base attack weapon like a Quillivonia, Skyward Blade or Sapwood Blade, level him to 90 and crown his burst. You're welcome. Why is he only in the 5th spot though? Well, on my last top 5 support list over a year ago, he was still my number 1, but while he is just as broken as always, the game around him has changed a bit. While he is still in my weakest best mel team in the low investment bracket, outside of that he does not have as many meta teams anymore. None of the Luna teams have him, and Snezhnaya will also prefer other units instead. Valka can use him if you do not have Nicole or Doran, but it is not the best option for him either, and the same is true for Lohan. So while Bennett is still amazing, especially for 4-star clears and as a universal support, the top teams feature him less and less. Plus, his energy requirements, especially in Stygian Onslaught, along with the Circle Impact, are not that easy to work with all the time, but again, this is complaining on a super high level, so Bennett still one of the best and a very well-deserved spot in the ranking. Moving on to the 4th spot, we have Nicole. Bennett's bigger sister, if you want, is a limited 5 star and probably the most versatile support the devs have given us in quite a while. She is a Pyro Shielder who also gives an attack buff, but other than Bennett, she gives it to the entire team. Naturally, her buff is not quite as high as Bennett's, but easier to get and maintain. With the elemental skill, you get both a super tanky shield and the buff to everyone in your party, which is why Nicole synergizes so well with new strong sub-DPSs like Emily, Doran, or even the buffed version of Yaemiko. In teams where the damage is distributed more equally, Nicole is usually the way to go. No circle impact, no energy issues, not even in Stygian. The mage is super comfortable to have on your account and just swap in whenever you can. Ideally, you run her with a second Hexerei character in order to get the most out of the new artifact set, but even on her own she will be more than useful. And with the set you will gain up to 40% pyro and your on-fielder's elemental damage bonus, so for Varka, Anemo, for Lohan, Cryo. And this combo with shielding, attack buffing and damage bonus makes Nicole one of the most versatile supports in Genshin. Personally, I do not own her on my account, but I have played her a bunch on my fiance's account and I do enjoy the comfort she gives a lot. Her best meta teams are Varka's and Lohan's elite liners, but she also forms a strong base core with Doran official already. Kinich got a big upgrade with her as well, and she even works with Sandrone teams because she buffs her as well as Yaemiko. In terms of F2P friendliness, Nicole is amazing as she only cares about attack and energy recharge, so you won't need to spend thousands of resin on her. For weapons, Skyward Atlas is almost as good as a signature, and if you don't have that one, Floor Impurity or TTDS are more than decent alternatives. Level her skill and enjoy a strong and versatile shielder/buffer. The third spot, and with that the bronze medal, goes to Cherus. Yes, I know, third pyro unit in a row, but undeniably one of the best forces in the game and generally an amazing support, especially at C6. Cherus is, in my opinion, the best F2P gift Hoyo has given us since the launch of the game. While she does not shine with insane damage numbers herself, her buffs and rash rates single-handedly revived the overload reaction. Because if you've been playing the game before Cherus's release, that reaction was pretty much useless at that point. But with her in your party, suddenly overload was the best team core for many pyro and electro carries, including Raiden, Clorin, Razor, Yoimiya and many more. Of course, Cherus is an essential part of today's best overload combos as well, whether you play them with Mavuika, Arlecchino or Veressa. Now, one could argue that she is not as versatile, as she only works with one reaction, but that is not even true. Yes, Chevy is best in overload, but at C6, she is good enough to work as a side-credit to Bennett or Yansan, even if you do not play overload. She can work in Varka teams or Melt, which is why she is such a valuable addition to anyone's account. Just to show how good she is, with Nicole, Doran and Fischl we have 3 very strong Hexerei units that could form an overload core, but you'd rather bench one of these than benching Cherus. If you have her, absolute must build. And F2P friendly as well. You can run her on a Bless or Song of Days Past, even Cinder City can work if you have no one else on that set. Triple HP Mondstadt, bit of ER, and you're good. For a weapon, either Fav, Rightful Reward or Black Tassel. The only thing you should do is get 40,000 HP on her to max out her buffs. And if you want to level her talents for more personal damage, upgrade the skill and burst, but it is no must at all as her buffs are not reliant on these. So absolute dream unit, and I hope we will get more forces like her in the future. With that being said, it is already time for the silver medal, and that one goes to Columbina. The Moon Goddess left a huge impact on the meta and is almost a must-have for any Lunar team. She is on banner right now, so if you want to upgrade your Flints, Nefer or Zabai teams, now is your best chance to do so. Bina shines with off-field hydro application, lunar damage buffs, and enables all 3 lunar reactions on her own. Of course, the actual lunar damage meta is locked behind more Nod-Krai 5 stars, but Bina is definitely the most universal part of that meta. And of course, one could argue against her number 2 spot as she relies on other 5 stars and is bound to the lunar teams. Yes, you can run her with Skirk on TTDS and Tenacity, but to be honest, who actually pulls her just for that? So it is fair to say that she only has 3 main team cores, but all 3 cores are top of the meta at the end of Nod-Krai. Binefa is a flexible duo that works without flints, but with Lauma, Bina can shine as a Lunar Bloom DPS, and with Zabai and Linnea, she forms the currently strongest team in the game. So while she won't do much for your Mavuika or Neviet, her meta value is hard to argue against. Plus, as all of the units on my list, she is easy to build and F2P friendly. You usually run her on Silken Moon Serenade or Obeyed, and she wants enough ER to burst every rotation, HP and crit. Her passives gives her 15% extra crit rate as well, and with Prototype Amber she has a very competitive craftable weapon option. I got Bean on her release and I used her all the time. She is a massive upgrade over Aino and made a lot of the chill endgame of Nod-Krai look super easy. Of course, the new meta of Snezhnaya will probably be less reliant on her, but I would still recommend having one Lunar team on your account, in which case Bina is always strong pull value. So we are almost at the end of the list already, but before I reveal the best supporting Genshin impact, at least in my opinion, please do me a favor and check whether you are subscribed already, and if not, consider doing so as it really shows me your support. Thanks! As a last step, I want to talk about some honorable mentions that were very close to making it on the list, but in the end I could only choose 5 characters. These units are Yennefer, Doran, Lauma, Linnea, and with a small gap behind, Citlali, Xylonen and Escoffier. These 3 are all pretty good units to have on your account as they provide Rash Shred paired with either shielding or healing. However, their best teams are not quite as relevant in the meta anymore, and with more new 5s around the corner, I had to make a difference between very good and best of the best. Yennefer, Lauma and Linnea are the 3 lunar supports, but since all of them are restricted to 1 lunar reaction, it only makes sense to rank Columbina above them. Still, Linnea is amazing value for Geo teams as she deals lots of damage, shreds G-Res and heals. Lauma is in my opinion the currently best standard character in the game and made all bloom reactions relevant again. And Yennefer is, as I said, part of one of the best duos in the game together with Bina. Her shield is very strong, plus she deals lots and lots of damage. Still, she is less for support than for example Nicole, and shines more as a sub DPS. Lastly, Doran is a very flexible 5-star who can improve so many teams. In his dark mode with Lohan, he's more of a sub DPS than support, but in his light mode, he shreds the resistance of Pyro, Electro, Anemo, Geo and Dendro by up to 35%, plus he applies lots of Pyro and deals damage. He can also run the new Hexerei support set and is best with Nicole, Fischl, Lohan or Vaka. He was a very close call, but again, in the end, I had to make my final decision. And with that being said, the number 1 spot goes to Sucrose. Yes, a 4-star got the crown yet again, and to be fair, it was not even that close. Sucrose is simply too broken and is an almost every meta team. It is still the same VV Rash Shred, TTDS, EM sharing, you're welcome. Plus, she is a Hexerei character and got some slight buffs with her C6 on top of that, but from the start. While resistance reduction from enemy units is always useful, her actual glow up goes back to her EM sharing. With her in the party, she can share some of her elemental mastery with your other party members, and since both lunar as well as stellar reactions, or at least stellar conduct, care quite a bit about EM, her value does not seem to drop anytime soon. Sucrose's best teams are with Flints and Nefer, but she can work as a prune replacement with Vaka. She is best in slot for Mualani Vape. Mavuika's Vape Hexerei team runs Mona, and guess who? Sucrose. She is the GOAT and is also not reliant on her constellations. I only have C2 on my account, but I still use her a lot despite not even having Flints or Nefer. She is super easy to build, 4-piece Vivi, as much elemental mastery as possible, and that's it. Either sacrificial fragments or thrilling tails depending on the team, and her talents do not matter at all. You can level them, but you could also leave them at level 1, it would not make a big difference. Level her to 90 and you have yourself an absolute workhorse of a character. And with all the glazing being done, I am also done for the day. Of course, this is my personal top 5 support list and the exact value may vary from account to account, but that's my general ranking. What are your thoughts on my take? Do you agree or do you have a completely different lineup? Let me know your opinion in the comments down below, as I'm really excited to hear your takes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if so, please give it a like. And with all of that being said, Thanks again for watching, good luck on your polls, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!